Senator Luján.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to everyone who's here today. Biosimilar competition is one way to drive down drug costs for patients and increase access. Would you all agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Now, one of the concerns I have is we often see competition stifled in this particular area with biosimilars. And the concern that I have is tactics and delay that lead to entry of the lower cost biosimilar drugs keep patients from often having a choice, but also being able to afford their prescription drugs. Now, Mr. Davis, yes or no, will you commit to not blocking other drug makers from entering the market when the primary patent on Keytruda expires?
Well, Senator, at Merck, and we do believe that biosimilar competition and generic competition is core to the system. We need the patent protection, and then we need a robust biosimilar and generic market. And I can tell you that when the composition of matter patents expire on our drug Keytruda, I fully expect, and I will not try to stop, a biosimilar IV version of Keytruda coming onto the marketplace.
Is that a yes?
That's a yes.
I appreciate that. Mr. Berner, yes or no, will you commit to not blocking other drug makers from entering the market when your primary patent on Eliquis expires?
Senator, we have a number of patents on Eliquis, and we have certainly anticipated that when the patents that are most relevant for that product expire, we will have generic competition, in this case not biosimilar, but generic competition, and that would be around 2028.
When the primary patent expires on Eliquis, will you commit to not blocking other drug makers from entering the market?
Senator, I'm not a patent attorney, so I'm not entirely.
You're the CEO.
Senator, I would say that when the most important and most relevant patents expire on Eliquis, we will welcome generic competition.
So is that a yes or a no?
That's a yes, Senator.
Mr. Boehner, I have the same question on Opdivo. Yes or no, will you commit to not blocking other drug makers from entering the market when your primary patent expires?
When the most relevant patents for Opdivo expire, we would fully expect biosimilars to enter the market.
So
yes.
your answer is yes when the words you're using are relevant patents, not the primary patent. Is that a clarification that I can?
Yes, Senator. I'm just not certain exactly what the most what you're referring to as the primary patent, but when those patents expire, we welcome generic competition.
First patent, primary, the initial one, the one that was filed when you got this drug done. Look, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a CEO, I don't work at all. If I'm not using the wrong words, please help me a little bit. You know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, generally it's when the composition of matter patent expires. That
it doesn't sound like a yes. I hear what you're saying. I'm going to move on. Mr. Eduardo, we know that J&J entered into settlement agreements to delay the launch of some Stelara biosimilars in 2025. This will prevent competition in the drug market and Medicare negotiation, the way I read it. Will you commit to lowering the price of Stelara in 2025?
Senator, thank you for the question. I anticipate that the price of Stelara will actually be lower in 2025 as it has been lowering during the past decade. The price of Stelara has been steadily declining, the net prices, and I anticipate that the biosimilars in 2025 will further decrease the price of Stelara.
Are you answering yes to my question?
Yes.
I appreciate that. Now, we've heard over and over that Medicare drug pricing negotiations will kill innovation. Mr. Berner, I want to get a few things clear. Yes or no, is it BMS's position as stated in its lawsuit against the Health and Human Services that, quote, the IRA's real victim is innovation, and in turn, the millions of patients who are counting on the pharmaceutical industry to develop new therapies will save lives and improve health and well-being?
Senator, we have serious concerns about elements of IRA, specifically the fact that this isn't an actual negotiation. We obviously like some elements of IRA, notably the out-of-pocket costs. But
I appreciate that, but do you stand by this statement that was filed in the lawsuit to the United States Health and Human Services Department?
We have very serious concerns about the implication of IRA.
Do you stand by this statement?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no, is it also true that you said in your Q4 earnings call, quote, "We see a legacy portfolio of well-established products facing headwinds such as IRA. Through this portfolio, or though this portfolio is declining, it is expected to continue to generate strong cash flows to enable investment in our future growth drivers." Do you stand by that?
Yes, we actually have a legacy product portfolio that will continue to provide the necessary funds to innovate and bring the next wave of innovation to market. Yes, sir.
So based on that, can I interpret that cash flows were generated even though the IRA went to place and they're sufficient to support new innovations, as was reported to the investors?
Senator, we don't yet have IRA having been fully implemented in negotiation. That process is ongoing, but we are generating cash flows off of our existing products to fund innovation, sir.
The statement in the same filing to Health and Human Services with that case said, this portfolio, though the portfolio is declining, it is expected to continue to generate strong cash flows to enable investment in our future growth drivers. So is it generating cash?
Our legacy portfolio of products is continuing to generate cash. Yes, sir.
So even in the face of IRA, you're generating cash?
Again, Senator, we haven't actually finished negotiation yet on our first drug, which is...
I'll move on. I appreciate that very much. This is one of the... I grew up on a small farm in northern New Mexico. When a cow does its business in the barn, there's a pile of stuff I've got to go clean. That's what it is. It's manure. It has a lot of other languages. But that's what it is. I don't understand why this is so complex. The people in the room make these darn things so complex so no one understands them. I'm beside myself, Mr. Chairman, that when a question was asked, can you break down where the money goes on this particular drug? The answer is, well, it's complicated. We don't know. I'm hoping it's included in the filings for investors, that people know where the money, well, I'll follow up with more questions. I have several, Mr. Chairman, but y'all help me and other laymen across the country and around the world to be able to understand what the heck is going on. You all have some good lawyers. Maybe one day I'll go to law school and try to get a gig with one of you all. I don't know, but this is just frustrating. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Markey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, very much.